How's it, guys? This is Dayvy FPL and welcome back to another Deadline with Dayvy livestream. This livestream is going to revolve around Gameweek 7. As you guys probably know, a little bit of a wildcard week. We actually still might wildcard depending on that early United news. So I actually do have a tab open right now with kind of a wildcard draft I put together 5 minutes before going live, so that's why I was a little bit delayed here, unfortunately. But as I said, we will hopefully be getting some more Man United team news coming up before the deadline, as obviously they are the first fixture of the game week. So United vs Everton, going to kick us off. Are you guys going for the CR7 captain? Is the curse of the early game or the first game of the game week captain going to be broken today? I certainly hope so if I do go with Ronaldo captain, but I'm pretty sure if you guys are going with Lukaku or own Lukaku, you probably will go for him. So look, comments today probably going to revolve around the wild card. A couple of wild card drafts going to be posted in the chat. My recommendation, if you guys are going to post your wild card draft, rather don't post the entire team. It's just super hard to kind of conceptualize on like the screen to kind of think of each position. So I would rather you guys just post your decision making of that wild card. So instead of posting the whole formation, just post like, I want to rather go for Cancelo or Diaz. Who would you opt for? Like those kind of questions. That just makes the comments a little bit easier to read. I know sometimes there are those of you who don't get your questions answered. So I'm just trying to give you guys the best chance of getting a question answered is to just put in a nice little format. In terms of other questions, you guys can ask any questions you want. Doesn't just have to be about the wild card. It can be about just specifically Game Week 7. It can be about life in general if you really do want to. But I'm pretty sure most of you are here for the FPL content. So in terms of my own team, right now, this is my current team selection. Yes, I know I do have Omar Medeli on the starting 11. He won't play. We'll be making a transfer in the defense, probably either to Trent or to Luke Shaw. Coming up when we do get that United team news. In terms of the other moves, maybe a Greenwood. If Greenwood doesn't start, I would also be tempted to move him on to Rafinha. A little bit annoying that Rafinha did rise in price, but at this stage of the season, we can take that price rise as long as we're getting more team news. A lot of questions coming in, so I will get to your guys' questions as soon as possible. Joran Law saying rough night, so not too much. I think I just probably slept a bit later than I usually do, so I do apologize if I'm not that up to kind of energy, if you know what I'm saying. When you're coming up to Santon, Dayvy, Joshua was in Santon yesterday. Traore to Rafinha from -4 to start. Ben White for Traore. Traore to Rafinha from -4 to start. That move looks fine, to be honest. I don't know. I just have a feeling about Traore this week. I think he will play against Newcastle. At least I hope. I think like currently my team almost depends on if Traore actually ends up playing. I think that if he does start, he can have potential to score, but with Traore, he never will score probably, but I just really need him to play, and if he bangs, I probably wouldn't be against that. I think that I wouldn't be that against kind of taking him out though for Rafinha, but for my own team, I think that Greenwood and Jota are more of a priority right now. Jota because of the fixture against Man City, and then Greenwood because obviously if he doesn't start against Everton, we don't want him in the team anyways. Watch what's going to happen. I'm going to take Greenwood out because he doesn't start. Then he's going to come off the bench and score. That could probably happen. Someone saying Foster or Sanchez is Arsenal, also Feltman. So thank you for reminding me about that. So currently I have Foster in my current team because I don't own any Leeds assets. So I would rather play the odds there. I would rather say I hope Foster gets a clean sheet and Rafinha blanks than play Sanchez because I think the Foster fixture might be slightly better. I just think that the Brighton defense is better than Watford's. And I think that kind of makes sense. It kind of cancels each other out. Yash saying Greenwood or Benrahma. This game week, Yash, I would go with Benrahma. But for kind of the future medium term, I would go with Grealish. If I was on a wild card, if you guys haven't watched the wild card drafts, the one I dropped yesterday, I would keep someone like a Saar in my current wildcard team, and then next week I would keep enough in the bank to take him to Grealish. That's my kind of thinking on that. I just think that Liverpool Man City game is going to be super boring. I've predicted a 0-0 over on Super Brew, so that's what I'm kind of going for. Ben Coughlin saying, where do you get the early team news information? So currently, I think his name is Odds on FPL. He's going to be the most reliable source for potential Man United news. He has been quite distinctive on saying that he might not get team news, which does worry me because if he doesn't get team news, I don't think we will get. Because there are some other accounts that usually do post early team news, but they've said this week that they're not posting any team news, unfortunately. So we kind of have only one source, and that's going to be Odds on FPL. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong on that kind of Twitter handle. Wood as a punt on my wildcard. So Sonny, my current favorite wildcard front three is Raul Jimenez, Antonio, and then also Lukaku. So depending on who you want to drop out of that, I don't know who I would drop, to be honest. I know that Wood does have a punt on that Norwich fixture, but I think I would probably go with that more set and forget kind of front three than going for some more punts. Maybe bring King Kane back. So I don't know about Kane. I think maybe I'm a little bit, I have a little bit of recency bias here on the Arsenal result, but I just think I want to see a little bit more out of Spurs before I look at a Heung-min Son or a Harry Kane. And the reason for that is that if you guys look at our current team selections, you can't fit another premium in. If you've got Salah, if you've got Lukaku, yes, you might drop Trent, and that allows you another gateway. But I just think the Spurs fixtures, we have enough of a waiting kind of period. I think their next 2 or 3, they have 2 red fixtures, and then we can jump on them after that. That's my current kind of consensus on it. Rangding saying Williams, Jota, Bamford out, McNeil as Bliqueta, Morpay in from -4. Okay, so let's look here. So Williams, I don't think you have to take Williams out. This week, the fixture isn't that bad. If you're talking about Brandon Williams, obviously. Jota, Bamford out. So Jota's fine. Bamford out is also okay. I think what you could do... I think that what you could do is probably just do the Bamford move. Okay, I don't know if you... Are you so... Rangding, are you saying you're on a wild card or are you not on a wild card? I don't... Okay, no, you're not on a wild card because you're saying a -4 hit. I would probably keep Williams and then do the Bamford Jota moves probably just for a set, and then you can get someone like a Rafinha in or just post your options there. I don't think I would take the -4 for that. Rafa and Reza saying captain who? I think Ronaldo is the popular one. If I had Lukaku, I would captain Lukaku. So I'm going to say that to you guys straight. If you have Lukaku in your team, you should captain him. That's what I'm saying. But I'm pretty sure most of you would have had him in your team and you probably are captaining him anyways. If you don't have Lukaku, it becomes a little more interesting. You can go for safety with someone like a Ronaldo. I also consider Antonio a good option, but I just think Brentford have been quite solid at the back. I know they have just conceded 3 to Liverpool, but it is Liverpool. And West Ham recently haven't been outstanding. So I think that you can go with Antonio, but I probably would have liked him to have a better fixture. In terms of other punts, I mean, Rafinha Saw, I think that game could be quite high scoring. Could also look at Raul Jimenez. I mean, he's a great option. And then you could just go back to Captain Reliable, Mo Salah, if you think that that game could have some goals in it. It just depends on how that game kind of goes out, because the City-Liverpool games usually don't live up to the hype. You usually expect them to be quite good, but they're usually quite boring. And that's why I'm not probably going for a Mo Salah. But he is consistent, so that's a consistent option to look for. But I think if you have Ronaldo, Lukaku, I would probably stay within those two. Should I start Jota or MacArthur? I think you should probably just play Jota. I mean, if Liverpool score, he could be potentially involved. It just depends if Jota's going to start or not. I've been kind of back and forth on it. I thought that because of the Porto game, Firmino played and he looked quite good, and Liverpool's better. I mean, Firmino's better at the press than Jota is. But now I'm kind of leaning towards maybe Klopp playing all 4 of them up front. I don't know. Lukaku might not even play. So I don't really know why Lukaku won't play. It's like people saying why Ronaldo won't play. I don't really understand it unless there was going to be some rotation. But over the international break, they only played 2 games. It's not 3 games. So I don't think there's a kind of worry about there being rotation between Lukaku and Ronaldo. I don't think I would be too worried about that. Your favorite mids on a wild card. So Sultan, I would go for Salah. I would go for Saw to Grealish next game week. Rafinha, and then I would fit in whatever your kind of budget affords. Probably Saka, but most people probably only be able to afford like a Smith Rowe. I also like Mbuemo or Mbuemo. I don't know how. I keep on forgetting where the E falls. If the E's first, then it's one. If it's not, it's the other. So that's why I think that those are my 4 midfielders that I would go for, and then just the cheap option. Douglas Luiz if you can, but Brownhill's not the end of the world. Vincent saying tied because of an electricity outage. So no. Cables were stolen 2 days ago, but it wasn't my street's cables. It was the street below me's cables. So luckily, we still had power. Okay, Dayvy, actually, I got Rafinha And my defense is Reguilon, Semedo, Alonso. Okay, so I wouldn't go with the... Okay, if you have Alonso ready and you haven't wildcarded, then just keep Alonso. But I would be a little bit tempted about Alonso. I don't know if he will start. I was thinking 4-3 with Azpilicueta. Okay, those moves are fine then. I understand what you're trying to do. If you have to play Brandon Williams, then you can probably do a -4 hit. I don't think... Especially if you're bringing Azpilicueta, and that looks quite good. Would you rather take a hit for a defender or use a wild card a week earlier than planned? So, Nemanja, it's a tough decision because it's probably relating to my own team and like what I was kind of deciding on. I don't think taking a hit for a defender, if it's going to be a Chelsea option, is that bad, because let's take the wild card out of the question for an example. If you're going to be having Azpilicueta, Rudiger for a couple of game weeks, I think they'll pay off that -4 hit in the upcoming game weeks anyways. But now incorporating the wild card, I understand that you have to kind of consider it, but I wouldn't be looking too much into the wildcard scenario because you could always gain some price rises if they do happen. And then also that also opens the option of not wildcarding. So you're paying a -4 hit for a defender that could pay off the hit, but also maybe give you the chance of holding a wildcard. So that's the way I think you have to look at it. I don't think a -4 hit this week is that bad. Jason saying, where's your Springbok shirt? So last week I wore it and we lost. So now I'm not going to wear it and we're going to win. That's how you see. I've got the mastermind plan there. Ralph is saying play Cancelo or Gray. I would play Cancelo in this case, especially if you have Luke Shaw. I just think that Everton United game will be quite close. I think that the only way I can see Gray doing well, which I can actually see the United game going, is if kind of Everton park and then they're going to counter-attack, which is probably what they're going to do, and then Gray could be quite dangerous. But I think I would probably play Cancelo more because the clean sheet chance is there and also he offers an attacking threat. So it's one of those kind of weird game weeks where I wouldn't probably suggest playing a defender over midfielder, but I think this week you might as well. G-Ball saying, Sup, just joined, transfers made. No transfers made. We were waiting for United team news, hopefully. I'm going to become quite nervous if 5 minutes before the deadline we don't have team news. That could be quite a bad scenario to be in. In terms of the transfer plan, because a couple of people might have joined a little bit earlier on. So if Luke Shaw is out, I'm going to take him out. If Luke Shaw is playing and Greenwood is playing as well, then I probably will just go for Trent out to probably Azpilicueta. If Greenwood's out, I'll bring in Rafinha. And if Shaw plays, I have to bring in another defender anyway because Omar Madeli won't play. If he does play, I will be quite angry because I'm taking a hit to bring a defender in. But I think then I'll just do Trent out because I think next week we're going to wildcard anyways. It was kind of something I was contemplating, whether I was going to wildcard this week, next week. I think I'm set on doing it next week just because of the options that we currently have in the lineup. So that's why I hope that the team can actually do semi-well. But I think this week's a little bit of a write-off. I'm just letting you guys know. If you have a similar team to me, it's probably going to be a red arrow, unfortunately. Gary is saying Traore is scoring this week, 100%. I'm tempted to just put the captaincy on him just to kind of put all my eggs in one basket. But if Traore just plays, I'm going to be happy because at least there will be 2 points instead of 1. Preston saying Sanchez or Foster for this game week. If you have Leeds assets, I would play Sanchez. If you don't, I'm tempted to play Foster just to play the odds on that one because I think the Arsenal game's a tough one for Brighton, and I think that although Foster has a better game, the Watford defense is worse. So I think those two kind of count each other out, and the only deciding factor for me is if I have a Leeds asset or if I don't. But I'm hoping that there's not too much between them. I mean, Sanchez, he could have had a penalty save last week, but Zaha took a good penalty. Jota out for Rafinha, says Nikki. I would probably do that move, but I would wait. And if you do have Greenwood, Nikki, I would wait for that. Because if Greenwood doesn't start, I would rather take Greenwood out than Jota out. Because Jota has the potential, if we don't wildcard, to play game week 8 against Watford. And that's what I'm kind of going for. Play Duffy or Gray, have Sanchez. So Rafa, it's a tough one because I genuinely think you might as well play the odds here and go for a double up in the defense, but I think that Gray also has the potential to score in United, have been a little bit leaky, so in that case I would probably play Gray. Only if I really trusted the defense to get a clean sheet, then I would play Duffy over Gray, but I don't. Would you keep Silent or free it? Team was hacked. So I firstly apologize that your team, or my condolences for your team being hacked, but at least you did get it, hopefully before you're using your free it. So obviously they made transfers this week. Would I keep Salah? I don't think I would keep Salah. I think I would go unless you, because I think this week the team doesn't necessarily not need Salah. I don't think the budget is going to be that constrained, but I think I probably would leave him out and go for someone like Ronaldo, Lukaku up top, just because City is a really tough fixture, I think. But it's a really tough one. Unfortunately, as you said, your team was hacked, so you're kind of being put in this scenario. But I think you might as well maybe just go for a little bit of difference on a free hit if you're having to use it this week. Raf is saying my team is ready to go 100%. So if you want to drop by the stream for the next 40 minutes, you can. Otherwise, if your team's ready to go, you can always just go and enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Should I start White over Cancelo this week, says Yash. I think I would probably still keep Cancelo in my lineup. I don't think there's many defenders that I would bench Cancelo for this week. Just because I think he's nailed to play and the clean sheet and attacking threat is still going to be there. Whereas with Brighton at home, I don't know if I trust the Arsenal defense that much. Mount says Jeremy. So there's been a couple of reports this week. I was looking, or actually today I was actually looking for a lot of kind of predicted lineups for Chelsea because I wanted to kind of see the defensive situation, what kind of most reporters were going for, and a lot of reporters actually had Werner Havertz instead of Mount Havertz, Mount Werner. So I don't necessarily know if Mount is that nailed to start. So I don't know. I probably wouldn't be bringing him in for a hit, but if you want to take a punt for this game week, then you can always go for him. Any news on Soufal or Shaw? So Soufal, I don't really know much news about him, but the last I heard is that he currently has a little bit of a knock or an injury. But I think with Shaw, we will hopefully be getting some early team news on that. So make sure you guys are checking out Twitter. I know I have some kind of mods around that will hopefully be checking Twitter for any updates. But if there aren't any, I will be checking about 10 minutes, 15 minutes before the deadline. Rafinha had a price rise. Yes, he did. Helmy, he had a price rise last night. But I kind of want to get as much information as possible to get it. That's a terrible kit design, says Savio. So Savio, that is my high school's kit. So unfortunately, I had to wear that kit a couple of years ago. So yeah, that was my high school's kit. Should I captain a Chelsea defender? I don't know if I'd be captaining one of them. I think if Alonso was nailed to start, I would be very tempted to captain him. And the reason for that is that not only does he have a clean sheet threat, but he has quite a significant attacking threat. So you're almost captaining a midfielder, for example. But just because there's been some speculation about Alonso, Chilwell, Azpilicueta, I don't think I would go for a Chelsea option. I probably would just go for either Lukaku or Ronaldo. Optimus Prime saying 2 free transfers got... you've listed all those players? Yes, 100%. So Optimus Prime... okay, also I'm at work, so I can't... Okay, so Optimus Prime, I will check Twitter for you. I will take over that job today. And then I'll tell you if he's starting or not. Why Foster over Sanchez? So right now, because I don't own a Leeds attacking asset. So I hope that Leeds blank. And that's like just the simplest way to put it, is that I hope that the Leeds asset's blank, and therefore Foster will get a clean sheet. Should I go Trent to Aspie from -4? Is that overkill? Wildcard next week. So Bacon, it depends if you have a starting defense. If you have a starting defense, I would probably just not go with that. But if you don't have a starting defense, a -4 hit for Azpilicueta is fine this game week. You just kind of hope that he gets a clean sheet and some bonus points to wipe it out. Not the best scenario in the world to take a -4 before a wild card, but I guess in your situation, if you don't have a playing defense, it's a -2 hit anyways because you don't have a playing defender. Azpilicueta for Rudiger for game week 7. So this was a move that I was considering because if I do a defensive move, which I probably will have to do this week, I personally prefer Azpilicueta because I think he has a better chance of starting at right wing back than Rudiger does. So I think Azpilicueta's attacking threat might be slightly more significant than Rudiger's will. Sorry I'm late. Are you not wildcarding? So actually 2 questions there on top of each other. So I'm not wildcarding unless we do get some mega news about players being out. Then I might be forced to. I have put a wildcard draft. I will let you guys know actually. This is the draft that I came up with like 5 minutes before the deadline. It's quite similar to the draft that I created a couple of days ago. It just has some changes in it. Actually, I should probably check the draft that I came up with yesterday on the video that I released. Let me just go check that out, and then I'll tell you if it has changed significantly from that. Okay, so in this situation, I had a 4-3-3. So now I've changed it a little bit around. Okay, no, this is the same team that I had. Yeah. So it's the same team I basically had, except now I'm playing Smith Rowe instead of Diaz, which I probably. So this is the team that I came up with 5 minutes before. So you guys can let me know, screenshot it or whatever. But if we do wildcard, I will go with this team. Enough in the bank, 1.8 to take Saar to Grealish next week, or Saar to ever you want, or you can always go for one of your defenders up to Trent if he's going to be back. So that's like the worst case scenario that I do have, but I just don't know if what will take me to wildcard, for example. Coffin saying let's go Boca. So Coffin said, I swear last week you weren't too confident, but I think this week 100% we got to go for it. Is this a wild card? So that is my wild card if I was to play it, but I don't think I would wild card. I think it would take, maybe if we get news that Greenwood and Shaw both are going to miss out, then I might be just tempted to do that, because right now the team does not look strong. On wildcard, would you go Vardy or Son? Cheers for the work. Keep it going. So Miguel, I think I would go for Vardy more, because I think the fixtures over the next few are better than what Son's are. I remember when I had to do this transfer on fan team, I was looking at what player to bring in, and I went for Vardy. I just think the form is on a little bit more Vardy side of things than Son as well. So that's why I think I would be tempted more by Vardy than Son. Wood for Armstrong for a -4. So I think Armstrong's fixtures improve next game week if memory serves me right. So I don't think I would do Wood to Armstrong just because of the longevity of that transfer. Doesn't look that strong. Kagiso saying, Dayvy, are you a Kaiser Chiefs fan? So I'm closer to Mamelodi Sundowns, or at least been brought up closer to Mamelodi. So I think I'd have to be tempted by them. But in terms of like the PSL scene, I'm not too much into it. So I can't really pick a team right now. But if I had to pick a team, it probably would be Mamelodi Sundowns, unfortunately. So Kagiso, if you're a Chiefs fan, then we can battle on that one. Will Tsimikas play this week? I don't think so. I think they'll play Milner at right back. And the reason I'm saying that is that during the midweek in the Champions League, Milner was subbed on about the 60-minute mark. And that kind of gave me an indication that Klopp is going to go for Milner and not kind of shift things around and play Tsimikas at right back. Dayvy, why is no one taking Gucci seriously? So I think maybe no one's taking... Some people actually are taking Gucci seriously. Some people are asking me, should they bring him in this week? I just think maybe because he hasn't been performing super outstandingly. He's had a couple of returns, but nothing kind of exceptional. And that's probably why no one's kind of rating him. But in terms of consistent returns, St. Maximum is looking very strong. So you can consider him. And the Newcastle fixtures don't look that bad. I just think there might be options in the attack that I prefer slightly more than Gucci, unfortunately. No worries, Karen, at least you're here. Thanks for joining the stream. Hey, I'm on a wild card. Should I go for Raul Jimenez or Vardy? I think that I would only go with Vardy if you can afford him. And if you are comparing Jimenez to Vardy, then go for it. But I think that Raul Jimenez has some nice fixtures coming up. And that's why I might look at him. What do you think of Saka? I do like Saka. I think that if I was to go for a mid-priced option around that price point, I would go for him. And if you can afford him over someone like a Smith Rowe, I do think it's worth that upgrade. Torres to Rafinha for a -4. So that is a super tough one. I wish that you kind of did that move previously, because that would have been easier to kind of say. Right now with City's fixtures coming up, I don't know if I would lose Ferran Torres, to be honest. I understand that Rafinha is a good shout, but I don't know if I think it's probably worth the -4 this week. So if you are going to do that move, then this week's probably the one to do it in. Aspi or Alonso? Sanjay, go for Aspi. I worry about Alonso, to be honest. I think that Chilwell will play this week. So if you are an Alonso owner, what the situation is, if you have him, keep him. If you're on a wild card or haven't brought him in, then take him out. That's what I kind of say. Confirm your team, Davey. So 30 minutes to go to the deadline. I'm only going to confirm my team when we do get United news. So I do apologize to you guys if you have been here waiting for the team. But what I would suggest is come back 15 minutes, 10 minutes to go, because I can't physically do moves unless we do get early team news on my situation. And Nikhil saying, please play your wild card, Davey. So Nikhil, if you want to go for the wild card, go for it, buddy. There's no one's holding you back, but I think this week I'd rather hold on to the Wolves and the Saw assets than use the wild card this week. I think there's too much up in the air right now in terms of team rotation, and I think I would rather take advantage of those price rises over the international break than use it today. But if we do get news that Shaw and Greenwood are out, I might be forced into kind of doing it. Any planned transfers for today? If Shaw's out, we'll be taking him out. If Greenwood's out, we'll take him out for Rafinha. And if Shaw's going to play, then I'll take Trent out for probably Azpilicueta. Rafinha or Saw as a differential captain. I think I would be more tempted by Saw because I think he has a higher ceiling than Rafinha does. Is Ramsdale safe, says Champ Boy. As far as I know, there was an article that came out about Leno potentially playing the odd fixture. So I don't know if Ramsdale's nailed, but I've seen a couple of people go from on wildcard, and I think that probably gives you an indication that he probably should be fine for the upcoming game weeks. Marcel or Semedo? I would go with Semedo because there has been some speculation about some rotation for Marcel. So I think Semedo is a better option to go for, and I think he might be worth that extra price. Max Kilman an option over Marcel. I don't really know the Wolves backline too well, but I know that Kilman is not going to be nailed for the foreseeable future. I think that maybe the next couple, but I think that once the centre-backs are back to full fitness for Wolves, I don't think he'll be starting. How many points are you expecting, says Salah? So Salah, it's a tough one to kind of call. Basically, not too many points. That's probably the overarching term that I can give it to you. Helmi saying, are you still going to captain the player who plays the opening game? So yes, I am. I'm hoping today the curse is broken and we are looking at a high score from Ronaldo. But my faith isn't too much in him, and that's why I think if you have Lukaku, I would probably go for him over Ronaldo. Foster or Ramsdale? I would go for Ramsdale. I think the chance of that clean sheet is higher than Foster. The only way I would play Foster, if you guys don't have Rafinha or a Leeds attacker, then I'm expecting to play the odds on that one and just hope that Rafinha blanks. 12-man team or 11-man, says Champboy. So I don't know exactly what you're saying there, but if you are saying to have like a bench player that plays, I would go with that. Alonso Rudiger as a Trent replacement. I would go with Rudiger. I think there's a little bit of concern about Alonso's playing time this week. Are you not wildcarding? I'm not wildcarding so far. Foster or Saw, I would go with Saw. Alonso, are you getting in? No. If I had to get a Chelsea defender in, it would be Azpilicueta, and then my second option would be Rudiger. Saw or Benrahma? Saw this week, Benrahma for the upcoming game weeks. So Benrahma is more of a long-term hold. Why no Ronaldo in your wildcard? Because I won't captain him this game week or the next game week, and then United's fixtures get quite bad up until about game week 15. Pinnock, Tomiyasu or Lowton? I would go with Tomiyasu. Brentford have some nice fixtures, but you have to wait 2 or 3 game weeks for that. I'm 0.1 for Grealish. If I use your wild card, what can I do? So the easiest way to downgrade is to downgrade Azpilicueta to a cheaper defender, or what you can do is you can take Douglas Luiz. Okay, this is the best transfer. Forget what I said about Azpilicueta. Take Douglas Luiz to Brownhill, and there's your 0.1 million. Douglas Luiz is a little bit of a luxury transfer there. It's just because I think that he looks quite strong. Your team value, if I remember correctly, it was about 0.03 or 0.02. Okay, so it's 1.101. So I don't know what's happening with sorry, that's the wrong team as well. Opinion in the Spurs defense, hold or sell ASAP. If you have them in your team, I don't think it's worth taking them out. Just hold them. JV saying you did Luke Shaw dirty with that thumbnail photo. So this might have been when Luke Shaw was on the heavier side of things, but this was Luke Shaw. So he did himself dirty there. I didn't do himself dirty. But to be honest, it was probably one of the only pictures I could find of him. Luke Shaw is fit to play, included in the squad. So yes, he is in the squad, but that doesn't mean that he's going to start. I want to know if he's going to start. If he doesn't start, it's basically like he's injured. If you want to get Rafinha in, or if I want to get Rafinha in, should I get in for Greenwood or Jota? Already have. Okay, so this is the exact move that I'm contemplating, and the way I'm reaching a decision is I'm going to wait for early team news and then jump on that early team news about Greenwood. If Greenwood's going to be benched, I'm going to be going for Greenwood out, but if Greenwood starts, I probably will keep Greenwood and Jota both. But if you want to get Rafinha in 100%, then if Greenwood starts, go Jota out. Rudy for Alonso from -4. So Christian, I wouldn't do a -4. I would just keep Alonso if you have him. I don't think it's worth taking him out for a -4 hit. Even though he might not start, there is a potential that he does. And that's why it's not worth taking a -4 to take him out. Is it worth doing a free hit, Jonathan? I don't think so. I think it's worth to just kind of take this game week on the chin and then next game week or use it in the blank or doubles. Hi, Dayvy. Short for Thiago Silva. Thoughts, please. So, Melvin, the only thing about Thiago Silva is there were some predicted teams that didn't include him. And that's the only way I would probably not go for Thiago Silva. I think I would rather go with Christensen than Thiago Silva, to be honest. But I think going for Rudiger is the safest centre-back. Jota for Brownhill for this week. So confused. I think that's a little bit of a downgrade. I probably would just keep Jota, to be honest. I know that the Norwich fixtures are quite tempting. But, I mean, Liverpool could still score against City. Use the wildcard now after the international break. So if your team is respectable, then I would keep the wildcard for next game week 8. Are you making any transfers? I will be making a transfer, 100%. I'm just waiting for some more news about either Luke Shaw or potentially Greenwood starting or not. And we will do those moves hopefully before the deadline. We will have to, basically. But what I'm saying is hopefully we'll be able to do that a little bit before the deadline commences. No worries, Melvin. Jonathan saying, is it worth playing Cancelo against Liverpool, or should I stick with 2 Chelsea defenders and Ben White? So if you have 2 Chelsea defenders and Ben White, I would probably play Cancelo over Ben White still. I just think that there is a chance that Man City keep a clean sheet, and you also have that attacking threat with Cancelo. Apologies for that, knocking the mic. Are you ready playing Jota and Foster? So right now I will, but if I bring Rafinha in, I probably will play Sanchez then. I just think that Arsenal game for Brighton, although they could probably keep a clean sheet, might be a little bit tempting. What I probably will do to knock up some confusion, because we might bring Rafinha in, is I'll play Sanchez for now, and then we can always just sub him in later if we don't bring Rafinha in. Play Traore or Gray. So R&R, go with the man himself. Go with Traore. I think you have to. Samuel saying, are you going to watch the Boca just after the deadline? 100%. And the reason I'm not wearing my shirt is that I hope that they win. Because last week I wore it and we lost. So this week I'm not going to wear it and we're going to win. Shaw expected to start. So I think that he has a good chance of starting. But I just want to get some more confirmed news. Triple captain Alonso, that's too risky for me. I think it's risky enough captaining a Chelsea defender. I think that triple captain, leave that one for double. Will Collinson saying dropping Ronaldo out for Chelsea, worth the risk. If you're going to drop Ronaldo to Lukaku, that's not a risk in my opinion. That's a good transfer, to be honest, Will. I just think that I can't do that move because I have other situations that I have to sort out in my team, including a defense that only has 2 people potentially starting. This is confirmed lineup. So no, Sarip, if there is news that maybe Greenwood is benched, Shaw's benched, then I might have to go for the wild card this week. I don't know if I still might not. News is expected to be in the squad, bro. So Felipe, is that the squad or is that the starting 11? I do that with my Wales jersey, says AJ, 100%. Sky saying, hey David, trust you are well. Thank you, I'm doing quite well. Hopefully you are too. Digne versus Marcel. Who can be my third defender between these two? I would go with Marcel this week, to be honest. Everton's fixture, especially if you're captaining Ronaldo, it doesn't look too great. It will be tough to get early team use at 11, especially comes to 11, 15. So Connor, it will be tough, but it's not impossible. Because eBay is saying Captain Lukaku or Antonio, 100% go for Lukaku. That is a no-brainer in my opinion. What if Jota also gets benched? So some people argue that Jota off the bench is better than Jota starting, so that might not be too bad. But I just think there is a potential that Jota starts, and that's why we'll probably keep him. Isaac, I never try to ignore people's questions. Play Rafinha, play Gray, or take a -4 hit for Rafinha. How are Everton's fixtures in the upcoming game week? So if Everton's fixtures are good and you're going to keep him for the foreseeable future, then I would probably just play Gray. I feel like wildcard is good for you this week, don't you think so? Todd, I think it's good, but I think that next week is better. That's the way I'm going to put it. Foster or Sanchez today. Winston, I was playing Foster because I don't own Rafinha, and I still might do that, but I think that Sanchez has the better chance of a clean sheet. I'm guessing Trent will come back after the internationals. That's the way I think, but I think with Trent, it's always a little bit risky with injuries. especially with any player, to be honest, with injuries, because you never know if they're going to kind of get a worse injury over the break or if they're going to kind of make the injury worse, for example. Should I take Omar Medeli or take a -4 for Cancelo? So Jermaine, if you're going to be keeping Cancelo for the upcoming game weeks, I would do that move because I don't think Omar Medeli is going to start, unfortunately. De Bruyne punt from Game Week 8 onwards. I like De Bruyne, but I don't think it's worth kind of going for him. Pollard or Fernandez? Fernandez's kicking over the post is better than Pollard's. I'm just going to put that out there. So I would probably go with Fernandez in that case. Joined late. What are your transfers? I'm waiting for early team news. I'll go check Twitter now for you guys because I know it seems like people are getting a little bit antsy here. I will go check early team news. And then if we do get team news, then I'll be doing my transfers on that. But yeah, I don't think we're going to be going... I don't think we'll be getting early team news now. So I don't think we have early team news so far. And if we don't get early team news, I probably will just do Trent out for Azpilicueta. So that's the situation that we're currently on because we haven't got any news so far. But if we do get early team news, you guys can always tag me over on Twitter. As people say, like the risk of getting it is has been reduced now that the deadline is closer to or further from the game. Sorry, we do have a super chat here. Let me just see if I haven't missed any of them. Jota, Benrahma, Rafinha, Salah, -4 to play. I don't understand this question at all. -4 4 to play. Sorry, I do apologize. I thought you said -4 to play. Okay. Benrahma, Rafinha, Salah, bench Jota. I don't think benching Jota this week is that bad of a decision at all. I mean, benching Trent is fine even. Even though he is injured, let's just say he wasn't injured. That would be fine. Christopher saying, good to go with Grealish still. So with Grealish, what I prefer is, keep it, if you're on a wild card, keep Saw this week and then go Grealish next game week. But Grealish this week, the fixture's not that great. So I think I would prefer to do that move next week. Would you start Sanchez / Duffy or Foster / Duffy to spread the clean sheet risk? So it depends on what type of a manager you are, Zodiac. If you are a spread the risk conservative manager, play Foster Duffy, but I would probably just play Sanchez Duffy and hope they keep a clean sheet. Torres out for Rafinha or Saw? I would go with Rafinha out of those two. Saw's this game week, he's only a 1 week punt for me. In the future, it's not that great. Cavani to start and CR7 rested. I don't understand, Tom, why CR7 would be rested. I just think that it's a little bit crazy to do. And the thing is, if CR7 gets rested and they lose, Oli gets sacked 100%. So rather just play Ronaldo, and then if they lose, maybe you can still argue some points there. But if they lose and Ronaldo is not on the pitch, he's 100% gone. And Nikhil saying, hey, Dayvy, planning to remove Salah and bring Bruno for this week only. Got Ronaldo, Jimenez, Antonio as my forward. Thoughts? So Nikhil, okay, so obviously what you're doing is you wildcarding next week probably then. Take Salah out and bring Bruno in. Let me just look at these fixtures, Nikhil. I can understand it from your perspective. I just don't know if it'd be a 1 week punt for me, but I understand what you're saying. So I think I'd be fine with that move. As you're saying, it's a 1 week punt, and I mean, it is City, so it's just I never like taking Salah out. But I can understand what you're saying about that. Yeah, as lots of people are saying, I don't think Ronaldo will be rotated. Ronaldo and Rafinha for -4 over Salah and Gray for 1 week punt. Wildcard next week. So Vladimir, if you want to captain Ronaldo, I would do that move. Hello Davey, bench Matip or Gray? Have a good weekend. I would bench Matip, to be honest. I probably would play Gray. Hope you're well, but thanks Tyron. I am doing well, hopefully you are too. Azpilicueta Alonso, Azpilicueta for me. Wildcard Game Week 8 to wait for later and do a -8 in Game Week 8. So if you're going to do a -8 in Game Week 8, I probably would just wildcard. I think my plan is to wildcard, and that's why are you wildcarding next game week? D1, I am. That's what I currently am going for. Antonio's next 10 games, majority have low expected goals conceded. Isn't that a concern for Antonio? Rather have Tony. So That's why if I was wildcarding this week, I would have Antonio. But if you're wildcarding next week, I probably won't go for Antonio as well. That's my current thinking. I tagged you in a tweet. Thanks, Dino. I'll go check. The thing is, a lot of news now. A lot of news now will be. Okay, so that I think was just that was a predicted lineup. Thanks, Jason, for tagging me in the Delhi cricket team. I don't think that's going to help, but Shaw is playing in that. So maybe it's a sign. But so far, I don't think we have any team news. Yeah, so I mean, I'll keep Twitter on refresh, but I'll probably have the transfer page. I'll bring up the transfer page quite shortly because this might get a little bit tough. So Alonso is out for this game week, so I don't think he's confirmed out, but it's a little bit risky to have him, I think. That's why if you have him, just keep him. But Hila's saying you look good today. It's our first time seeing you. So apparently I'm looking bad today. That's what some people were saying, so I do appreciate that. Jason, why are you deleting Vincent's? Okay, Vincent, why are you saying time's up when there's 50 minutes to go? That's why delete his message, Jason. Get banned, Vincent. I'm joking. On a wild card, is Douglas Luiz worth the 0.0 over Brownhill? Duffy over Livramento? I would keep Livramento, and that's why I think Douglas Luiz is worth it over Brownhill. Because Livramento is fine anyways. If you want to keep the 0.1, that's fine. Tylee saying Dayvy looks like Mbappe. I wish I looked like Mbappe because I'd be getting money for days if I did. Ailing for Rudiger from -4. Don, if you don't have a starting bench if you don't have a starting defense, I would do that. I have a coffee light raise. I don't drink coffee, so I can't even drink a coffee. Louise saying, hope you have a good ESMR plus over Saka plus Tony. I think I would go with Smith Raul Jimenez. I would be concerned about Greenwood this week. Connor, I'm also concerned. Zaid, no worries, brother. You always post, or you always tag me in early team news, so that's why. So, Zaid, if there is any team news, just send it to me on Twitter, and I'll get to it as soon as possible. Saar might outscore Rafinha. Yes, he would, but I think the best scenario is to have Rafinha and Saar. That's the best way to look at it. Ronaldo may not play 90 minutes, tweeted. So, the thing is about Ronaldo is by him saying that, it probably just means that he's going to be benched. To keep you in the news, I haven't gotten team news just yet. I have only been told that there are rumors that Ronaldo might not play 90 minutes. But what? That is absolutely useless news because Ronaldo could get subbed anyway. So that's what I don't understand. What is that being implied? Start with Shaw or Traore, mate. Traore, 100%. Traore is a beast. He's going to be the high scorer this week. I can't tell you the things I would do if Traore just got a goal at least for us this week. Same source as normal. Thoughts that mean he starts and plays odds, which would make sense considering the 180 in a week. Yeah, so like Zaid's saying that should be fine. Zaid's saying hot chocolate for Dayvy. The sad thing is that's the truth. It's probably the only hot beverage I drink. I don't even drink tea. As for Laqueta or Alonso as a second defender, go for Aspi. Aspi 100%. Kill, what's the plan? So the plan right now is to try and get news of a potential benching for Shaw or Greenwood, and if we don't, we're going to bring Aspi in for Trent. Christian saying Traore is trash, 100%. I'm not saying that I don't agree with you, but I might be a little bit too emotionally involved in Traore. And right now it's a problem, and I need a wild card to sort out my problem. The doctors diagnosed the wild card to get me out of this disease. What are your thoughts on keeping Trent on a wild card this week? 100% Jojo. I mean, there is potential for him to come back against Watford, so I'm perfectly fine with doing that. Luke Shaw or Rudiger? Rudiger, 100%. Why would you ever get Grealish? He has one goal. So, Fazlo, the thing about the Man City fixtures are they're quite nice coming up. And Grealish is the most nailed out of the kind of Man City attackers. Are you taking a -8? I could potentially be taking a -8. we get news that Shaw and Greenwood are benched, then I would have to take a -8. Might even have to take a flip. I'd have to take, yeah, then I might actually just wildcard. White or Shaw to bench. TIA out for a Chelsea defender. Oladapo, so this is what I would do. Let's wait and see if we do get Shaw news. If we don't get Shaw news, then I would take Trent out. Otherwise, just start. I would start White. I would start Shaw because if Shaw's injured, he won't come on anyways. Are Leeds players worth looking at? Chris, 100%. They would probably be the number one team that I would be looking at besides Chelsea because Leeds fixtures are great. Okay, so 10 minutes to go. Let me go check the old Twitter again. I know there's probably going to be no news on here, but some people are playing Brownhill. Yeah, so like I honestly don't know. I honestly don't know what the tweet means. Like Ronaldo's not expected to play 90 minutes. I mean, that could mean he plays 89 minutes, to be honest. But why would there be a plan to take a player off when you don't know what the team is going to be about? I'm sorry. Will Greenwood definitely start? No. Dayvy looks a bit like a Dama there, handsome. But that reminds me of that St. Maximum tweet where the guy posted himself and he was like, apparently I look like St. Maximum and he looked nothing alike. People saying Tellez is starting. I don't know what to do, says Hannah. So if Tellez is starting, we're probably going to take a -4 and take Trent and Shaw out and bring in 2 Chelsea defenders. I think that's probably what we're going to do right now. Best Bamford replacement with -4. Raul Jimenez. 2 free transfers, Ayling and TAA. What to do? I would bring Ayling and Trent and I'll take both of them out. And then I would bring in Aspi and Rudiger if you can afford it. Who do I replace Greenwood with in midfield? So I would bring Rafinha in if you don't own him. Otherwise, I would look at someone like a Saka probably. I had Greenwood, saw Gray. I have to put one on the bench, please. I would bench Gray in that situation. Bernardo Silva, CR7 for captain. After that miss midweek, definitely CR7. Ronaldo benched. Like, if I have to give you my prediction, I don't think Ronaldo will be benched. Why is Ronaldo going to be out? Ronaldo is just simple rotation. That's all that's kind of going to come to play in that scenario. So I'm just going to bring up the transfer page so long, and I'm going to just put it on Chelsea assets just in case we have to make a move a little bit later on. 7 minutes to go, says Mohammed. 100%, 7 minutes to go on my side. Why is Leno not starting? I don't know. You have to ask Arteta on that. But as far as I know, they signed Ramsdale to play because you wouldn't sign someone for about 30-odd million if you're not going to start him. So obviously there was a need there for a goalkeeper. United are drifting on the betting exchanges a little bit. That's as close as it gets to early team. So Connor, thanks. That's actually a really good thing to look out for, is the betting shifts. As a United fan, I don't think he'll be benched. So Zayn, 100%. I don't think he will. So Cigar saying odds, FPL guys simply milking the situation. I understand what you might be saying there because we haven't got news, but I think right now there's too much. He has been given early team news before, I believe. So I think that he could still be trustworthy. Dayvy for Ballon d'Or, maybe in my 5-a-side team, but not in the overall thing. Tottenham-related team name suggestions. Harry Kane something. Any news? Nothing about the news. Aaron Fernandez, no worries, brother. Tanashi Shaw is out 100%. That, to be honest, I would probably predict that Shaw would be out because of how well Tellez played, and also you don't want to play a guy who's been potentially injured. Let me go check news again, but this could get a little bit spicy, guys. What position do you play, Dayvy? So Kagiso in 5-a-side, I usually play defense, but in 5-a-side, like everyone plays every position. But I have been usually playing a defender, mostly because the people in my 5-a-side team don't like to defend. So I'm kind of forced to defend. So a couple of people now, like FPL this season has been absolutely mental. So many people have been like changing their decisions 5 minutes before the deadline. So apparently now I've looked at a Chelsea team sheet. And a lot of people think that Torres will be benched. So if you guys do own Torres, maybe consider that. Zaid saying Oli has a tendency to play players that are already injured. So on the current news we have, I'm probably just going to do Trent out then. I probably will just keep Shaw. So I think we're going to take Trent out and we're going to bring Azpilicueta because we're going to wild card next week anyways, I think. That's genuinely. And then, I mean, if Shaw plays, Shaw doesn't, we just got to hope that the Don Omobad Madeli plays, which he won't. So that's also a little bit risky. Luke Shaw did not travel to Goodison Park, says Vincent. Thank you, Vincent, for that. They are playing at Old Trafford, but, that is always important to know. Sell Traore, sell Tony for Lukaku, and sell TAA for Luke. So those moves look quite good, to be honest. It's come to this, Livramento or Williams. Lol. I probably would go with Williams in that scenario. Jason saying, bruh, I have Torres. So Jason, you might want to take him out, but I mean, so apparently we're not going to get early team news. That's a bit annoying, to be honest. And like the thing is about team news at this stage, I wouldn't trust too much team news, to be honest, guys. Like, people are just going to be going for it. My sources are telling me Ronnie will save Ollie's job again today. That's pretty much how it's been. Okay. Daily Ali. Tim, like, I think you're going to have to send me that in a DM. I do apologize for the mispronunciation. I'll refer to him as the Norwich defender now, because I know that I'm mispronouncing it. More likely to start, Sufal, Shaw or Sufal? I don't even know what the current situation with Sufal is, but I would start Sufal anyways over Shaw, because if either of those are injured, they're going to come off the bench. They won't come off the bench. I would go with Sufal, rather. Shaw will not start. Another don't mind us taking a -4 for Chelsea defense. Play Williams out. Jotton, Bamford, yet more pay. Rangding, I don't know. I would go with Saka in that case. I don't think it's worth taking the extra cash. 3 minutes left. Not long left. Yeah, so let me just refresh again. I do apologize. Okay, so guys, we're just going to do Trent out. I'm going to take Trent out. Don't worry, I'm wildcarding next week probably anyways. So I'm going to take Trent out and we're going to go for Azpilicueta. I just hope that Azpi plays, flip. So that's the one transfer we're going to do. And then I'm going to put Azpilicueta in and I'm going to save that move. Captaincy is going to stay the same. I'm going to keep Greenwood. I'm going to keep Jota. And then if Shaw's out, maybe we get the defender off the bench, but I don't think there's too much other than that we can do, besides probably wildcarding. Okay, G-Ball, okay. Okay, 100%, thanks for that clarification. James, Kovacic or Smith Rowe? Smith Rowe, in my opinion. James, it's a tough one. I don't think there's too much between those two, but I just think that Smith Rowe, out of those two options, I would probably go for. Let me check if there's been other team news here. So someone posted some dodgy early team news. So guys, I don't think we're going to get early team news today. So please do your transfers. There's only 1 minute left, to be honest. So get those transfers locked in as soon as possible. Now should I play? No. So Shane, FL Viking posted some. Okay, Jason says, don't worry. Don't forget about Foster. So actually that is true. I just think I'm going to play Sanchez anyway. I mean, if Foster keeps a clean sheet, I'll be happy enough that the Leeds assets blanked. No worries, Zaid. No one posted early team news anyway. Tier A and short to Aspi and Tierney. Those moves look good, especially if you don't have a starting defense. So thanks, Jason, for the reminder, but I'm going to be just keeping Sanchez anyway. Start ESL Saw 100%. That was kind of a no-brainer for me. I missed the deadline. I thought it was 12:30. Really? Ronaldo was tired yesterday. Optimus Prime. So, guys, unfortunately, this has been a little bit of a messed up deadline stream. As Moses is saying, you're giving me anxiety. So sorry, Moses, for that one. There was just too much going on. Shaw not starting, probably won't. And I think now we can just focus on the wild card. I won't be activating the wild card right now, so don't activate your wild card. I'm only going to be doing it tonight probably. I just want to see and assess what happens in today's games. If there's a major injury, maybe I won't wild card. I probably will, but I will keep you guys updated, and I will be posting the transfers that I do throughout the games on Twitter. So make sure you guys are following me there on Twitter. Simon saying just finishing off my team. When's the deadline? Deadline is past, Simon, unfortunately. But yeah, so as I said earlier on, I do apologize. The stream was a little bit scuffed. We just had to kind of get questions in. There was a lot of early team news that we could potentially have gotten that we didn't. But hopefully the players we have start and Traore bangs. That's the most important thing. If Traore bangs this week, we're looking good. We're going to be eating good this weekend. But thanks for joining me on this stream, this Saturday stream. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, guys. Hopefully it's going to be a good game week for us. And as always, hopefully the green arrows are in our favor. I'm going to be signing off. It's been Dayvy FPL, and I'm out. Cheers. Bye.